Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. We have reached Friday. Very funny story. So I was at a networking event this morning and we were supposed to give one little tidbit of something good that happened this week. And one of the guys was like, "It's Friday. That's what's good about this week." So TGIF. So it is Friday, and that means that Drew is going live with some sort of nutrition or lifestyle or a fun little educational tidbit about things that you can use to increase your vitality, to prevent autoimmune conditions, and to prevent chronic disease, and really live out your athletic life and your best life. Sorry, athletic potential and best life. Yeah, your athletic life, your best athletic life. So, with that in mind, today I thought this is going to be the end of October. Today is October 25th, and October is actually National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about certain foods and also a little bit, I'm going to educate you today. So, this is my biology background. I don't know if I've mentioned this to everybody. So, I actually have a bachelor's in biology, and oh gosh, I originally wanted to be a vet with that, and then I wanted to go into cancer research, and then I wanted to work in a microbiology lab. So guess what I get to do with nutrition? Like all of those. So it all worked out. But I'm going to give you a little bit of education as to how our bodies tends to develop this cancer and some of the things that we can utilize to prevent one of them in particular, because athletes, we think that we are not we're protected from this, but really we can be at an increased risk, especially if we're not training properly. All right, so with that in mind, I'm just going to introduce myself. Hello, my name is Drew Mulvey. I'm a certified dietitian nutritionist, board certified nutrition specialist, and certified integrative sports nutritionist. I really would like to call myself the vitality expert and the vitality nutritionist. So I pretty much work close with athletes and coaches and business owners and really anybody who has really felt like they've lost their vitality or want to increase their vitality so that they're living out their best athletic potential and they're living out their best life. Why is that? Because that's my story, that I went from fibromyalgia to the finish line of an Ironman 70.3 a month ago. It's going to be exactly a month on Monday, which is very exciting. So one of the things that I wanted to bring into attention is, okay, when we are athletes, that's an extra demand on our body. And when we're placing those demands on our body tends to react. So I'm going to give you a little bit of the science behind everything. All right, so we think that, I know it's been out there, the cure for cancer, the cure for cancer. Okay, well, I do want to cover on the actual biology. So we are actually programmed with precancerous genes because there's some of the proteins in our body, there's some things in our body that actually need to start proliferating, and there's things that you don't want proliferating. Obviously, that's when things start to go crazy and haywire, is when things start proliferating too much and basically the code is not read perfectly. There could be some sort of mutation. So basically in that code, there's some sort of, okay, so there's DNA and there's RNA, and there's little codes on the DNA and the RNA, and there can be there's little letters, and those letters signify different, basically nucleic acids. That's what they are. Now, those could be off, and that can create some sort of a genetic, what we call SNP, or genetic alteration in that particular protein that gene is coding for. Now, with these particular compounds, I should say, there is something when you're coding for your DNA. They're called oncogenes, and oncogenes are the ones that are responsible for, they're technically the precancerous cells that we were all born with. Now, what they are is there's a little wrapping around them, and that little wrapping is called a histone or histones. And when the DNA and the RNA wants to start to proliferate, well, I shouldn't say proliferate, but when they're being read and then the gene is then being translated into a protein, that those histones are unwrapped so that, histones or which one? Well, when the histones are unwrapped, that's when the proteins are starting to, or the RNA and the DNA are being read to start making proteins. And then when there have been enough proteins that have been made, so say your skin cells, for example, you're always sloughing off your skin cells. So you want to make sure that your body is keeping up with the skin cells that are being sloughed off, or else you're going to get a really nice view of people's muscles and people's organs, and we really don't want that. So that one, the histones are going to be a little less taut or tight. So those are going to proliferate a little bit more. Now, the histones, when they close up, that's when it actually stops that little oncogene or that little compound from proliferating. So when enough protein has been made, so to repair something, then that's your body saying, okay, this is time to shut off. Now, to do that, we need something called methyl factors. And methyl factors are particular B vitamins. It's B1, B2, sorry, those are for energy. I'm sorry. I was getting caught up in the comments. I will get back to that with an A. No, there's nucleic acids, oncogenes. I will get back to that. Okay, so we're going to go into the methyl factors. So forgive me. Yes, B vitamins B1, 2, and 3 are very, very important because they actually help your body with energy production, and you're not going to be able to clear things out of your body properly if you don't have energy production. So those are very crucial. But I'm focusing on the methyl factors. So the methyl factors in particular are B12, B6, methionine, and folate. So you need those 4 things in particular. The methionine, that's SAMe. They usually recommend that you get it more through food instead of actually supplementing with it. But those methyl factors actually help to turn off the histones so that things don't start proliferating. And then that also protects the DNA and the RNA from any sort of oxidative damage, from any sort of inflammation that could be in your body. So here's the kicker. Now, we are athletes. We're putting extra demands on our body. We are also in school, or we have jobs, or we have lives where things come at us every single day, and we have a lot, sometimes a little bit more than we can handle, and that puts a lot of stress on the body, and that increases inflammation. What that does is when the inflammation starts to increase and your body goes into something called fight or flight, the B vitamins, B6, and B12s tend to go right down and get very depleted from your body. So with that in mind, your body's not able to fight off the inflammation as well, and that RNA and that DNA, because that histone is unwrapped, it's more prone to oxidative damage and oxidation, or I shouldn't say oxidation, but I'm just going to say damage. All right, forgive me. I was a biology major, and I tend to like biology terms, but I'm trying to keep it in layman's terms. Okay, so just to protect it from damage. Right, so we need those B vitamins, especially if we are athletes, if actually most people, we live in a very stressful environment. The electromagnetic frequency actually increases white blood cell count, so that actually increases inflammation in your body. Oh, well, I just got some glitter just thrown at me on Instagram. That was fun. I was talking about B vitamins, and I was talking about supplementing. Oh, yes, stress. Okay, so we're exposed to stressors every single day, whether that be through, oh, here's the one. The weather's getting colder right now. There's a thermal stressor. So I've started to feel like my mood is changing, and it's because that thermal stressor adds that extra stress with everything else. It could be mechanical, so you could be doing too much or you could be doing too little. You're not sleeping well. You're in a fight with somebody. You're constantly thinking negative thoughts, and you're busting your butt you're overtraining. Then your body is going to be very inflamed. But also we're exposed to a lot of different chemicals and a lot of, I was going to go with a biology term. I'm sorry. Things in the environment that could be causing issues in our body that our body really shouldn't be exposed to. So with that in mind, it would be very important to increase those methyl factors in your nutrition plan and make sure that in each area that you are finding that balance. So preventing that overtraining, listening to your body. That was one of the key things that I did while I was training for an Ironman 70.3. And I think that that's really key because actually Kona is this weekend too. And that is Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that to the max because there's ultra runners and there's also ultramans too. But I mean, you think of Iron Man and that's really pushing your body to a max, and there's going to be inflammatory proteins that are going to be generated. So, as athletes, we actually have to be a little bit more cautious about taking care of our bodies because when that inflammation gets out of whack, especially C reactive protein, or there's tumor necrosis factor, or there's a bunch of different ones. You don't need to know all of them. But what that does is that can start to attack the DNA and the RNA and those histones. They're just proliferating, and that's where the cancer comes in. So, what are some of the things that we can do as athletes and even non athletes? Because those with autoimmune conditions, that's usually an inflammatory condition. So, um, so then here are some of the things that you can do in particular as well. With autoimmune, with any sort of, if you're at an increased risk of, if you have more stress in your life right now. So here are some of the things that you can do to protect your body from that extra inflammation. Antioxidants, we're always talking about antioxidants, but I wanted to give you a little bit more detail on those particular antioxidants. So there's vitamins A, C, and E. Those are the most pretty well known of the vitamins, but vitamin C, first off, vitamin C is not just for immunity. Vitamin C is very important for the production or the recycling of the glutathione, which is your natural antioxidant. It's very important for protecting your cells. It's a potent antioxidant. So like your citrus, your green leafy vegetables, some of your berries like strawberries have vitamin C. Vitamin A, I recommend this to my female clients a lot, but actually to my male clients because it's very good for hormonal balance. And we know that hormones are also responsible for causing cancer, which may be one of the causes when they get out of line and out of whack. So with incorporating vitamin A, it's very good for that hormonal balance, but vitamin A, again, has that protective effect. It has that protective effect, particularly around like the reproductive organs in particular. It's also very warming and it's very calming. According to traditional Chinese medicine, like your squashes, your carrots, your sweet potatoes in particular are a very good source of vitamin A. And what that vitamin A also does is it helps your hair, skin, and nails. So yay, you get a nice youthful appearance too. Now, interesting fact, carrots in particular, I do want to bring attention to this because carrot juice I usually recommend to my female athletes, but carrots in particular, I don't remember what this particular diet is. I've been trying to remember it today too, but they recommend having carrot juice. And why is that? So in a meta-analysis that I had read, and I actually wrote a blog post about this, is that they had found that the relative risk of developing cancer started to basically, all right, do you want me to give you the stats? I'll give you the stats and then I'll explain it. All right, so the relative risk at certain doses of vitamin A, so there was 50 milliliters per deciliter or something like that, and then there was 5,000 micrograms per day. And what they found at that 5,000 micrograms per day, that it's, so with relative risk, it's at 1. And if it's under, and the closer it is to 1, the more of a protective effect that it has. So that 5,000 actually had more of a protective effect. And interestingly enough, guess where you can get that amount of vitamin A? In just one medium carrot. Isn't that crazy? So imagine what you're getting in carrot juice. So that's usually why it's recommended on this particular plan for fighting cancer. And this is a really good for prevention as well. Plus for, okay, here's the thing. Now with antioxidants, I do want to cover this. There's a lot of debate about antioxidant timing and when it should be beneficial for those that are really serious athletes. Okay, this is different. Yes, you want to have a nice antioxidant base. You want to have a nutrition plan that is rich in fruits and vegetables and a lot of different colors and nuts and seeds. And there's even some antioxidants in whole grains. Oats in particular have, I believe it's apigenin in them, which is a really potent antioxidant. And buckwheat actually has rutin, which is a potent anti-cancer compound. So incorporating all those different things into your nutrition plan can really give you that baseline of the antioxidant protection. But when should you have it, especially after a really difficult workout? Well, your body needs to adapt, and there's something called mitochondrial biogenesis, and that's super important. You want your mitochondria to be functioning properly, or else you're not going to be able to clear things out of your body, because your liver is the thing that processes everything and then clears it out of your body. If your mitochondria are not working properly, then you are not going to be able to clear those things out, and that could create that low grade, or contribute to that low grade inflammation. So, with that in mind, you want to be able to have exercise work for you, and exercise actually helps with that mitochondrial biogenesis. Now, if you have those antioxidants too soon, you need a little bit of that oxidation just for that mitochondrial biogenesis. So, you want to have like protein and carbohydrates afterwards. So, that's the whole thing with like chicken and rice, but you can have something like Greek yogurt and granola. They usually recommend like a simple carbohydrate, but the antioxidants that are in the actual fruits and the vegetables are going to be far less than actually supplementing with it. So the supplements, you want to wait maybe like 2 or 3 hours just so you get that effect and you get that mitochondrial biogenesis, because that's also going to help with your endurance. It's going to help with your memory. It's going to help with your heart and protecting your heart. And also it's going to help with your liver function as well. So very important timing of those antioxidants. Now, what other antioxidants are really, really good? Oh, I didn't cover vitamin E. I'm sorry about that. So vitamin E is very good for protecting lipid membrane. So your cells have a lipid bilayer, and a lot of that lipid bilayer is prone to oxidative stress and attack from oxidative stress. So that's why also usually when there's some sort of like fat base for things, they have vitamin E in there. Like with lotions, you see vitamin E, that actually helps to prevent that fat from oxidizing, and it does that in your body too. That's super, super important for any sort of cell. You're basically you're made of cells. So you want to protect the membranes, and you want to protect the fats in your body, because when those start to I don't want to say disintegrate, but they're not functioning properly, that's when the mitochondria really are not going to function properly, and that's when cells can start to proliferate too. So there's vitamin E. Selenium. Selenium, you want to be cautious with this because you can overdo it. Now, selenium is very good also for your thyroid function, but selenium is important for the generation of glutathione in particular, which is your body's natural antioxidant. Again, that's going to help you to fight off any sort of inflammatory issues, especially when you're at increased demands with your training and everything like that. Now, selenium, I'm going to back up. Brazil nuts are a very good source of selenium. I would only recommend maybe like one, maybe possibly two, but you don't want to go over a certain amount. So it's usually recommended like 200 milligrams relatively of selenium. Brazil nuts, one Brazil nut has about 178 milligrams. So that should cover your bases. So just add a Brazil nut. And then also tuna, even though it's high in mercury, well, it depends on the type of tuna that you do have. I shouldn't have said that. That some of it might have a little bit more mercury than others. Selenium actually helps to bind the mercury, which is another thing, is that heavy metals can cause inflammation and can also contribute to the proliferation of your cells and may contribute to cancer in particular. So you want to be adding good sources of that. And also tuna also has the omega-3 fatty acids that are also anti-inflammatory and anti-clotting. So that's another thing, omega-3 fatty acids. Other antioxidants that are really beneficial are quercetin. So quercetin, that has been studied in oodles of different sports nutrition articles. I've seen this in cancer. I've seen this in pretty much any sort of study done on antioxidants for particular chronic illnesses or for sports performance. And quercetin has elicited very amazing results. Now, again, quercetin can be very beneficial for you to prevent DOMS or for you to recover properly, but you just want to make sure that that's in a pill. If it's in like a capsule form, that's where you want to kind of wait until a little bit later after you work out. But quercetin actually is in apples. And apples right now are abundant. So guess what? Go and get your apples. And they say An apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? So an apple a day can actually help you to prevent any sort of development of may help to prevent any sort of development of cancer. Again, there's so many different factors that are contributing to that as well. Another thing, as I was saying before, that can be very pro-inflammatory is that a lot of athletes tend to be very hard on themselves. And those thoughts, I remember it from my master's program that my professor said the most pro-inflammatory thing that you can have in your life are your thoughts. So what I'd recommend, especially now because there's the transition, I recommend having a gratitude journal, being around friends and keeping that social life. So even training with friends, being out in nature so that it helps to calm you down and not being in that state all the time. There's other sources that you can incorporate. So I usually recommend like adaptogenic spices. So that's turmeric, cinnamon, and ginger. Very calming, very soothing. And also very good sources of magnesium as well. Magnesium is beneficial for your liver for clearing things out, but it also calms you down. So that's pretty much going to be in any sort of green vegetable that you can have. Your green leafy vegetables are also going to have that vitamin C as well, plus pumpkin seeds. I believe that, oh, you know what? Chocolate. Chocolate's a really good source of magnesium. So by doing that and calming your system down, then that's actually helping to decrease that amount of inflammation and helping you to calm down. Obviously, sleep is another factor that you want to make sure that you're sleeping properly. You want to make sure that you're eating properly. You want to make sure that you're training properly and that you are really listening to your body. There were days that I had to take off during my Ironman 70.3 training, and it helped me immensely. I was getting PRs on a lot of things this year. My running was a little bit slower, but I am just coming back from an injury, and I have to work through that subconscious fear of hurting my tibia again. I think once that's dealt with, then my running times will get better. But I have found that by incorporating all of these things, it's not only helping you to prevent cancer, but also it can help you to recover from an autoimmune condition, because a lot of those things, I say you treat an athlete like a chronically ill person, and a chronically ill person, that's usually an autoimmune condition. So a lot of these things are utilized in autoimmune protocols to help with recovery. See, it all interconnects. Isn't that really, really cool? So, are there any other foods that I would recommend? Oh, here's one. Dr. Barker actually just talked about this, interestingly enough. I have matcha green tea every single morning, and there has been a ton of research on the ECGC. I always screw those up. But it is, I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try to pronounce them, but those in particular are very, very potent antioxidants. They repair DNA, they prevent DNA and RNA damage, and they really can help with recovery. Also, matcha green tea, again, it is green, so it's very alkalizing, and when things are alkalizing, like anything with magnesium, that's also going to help the mitochondria to function properly. That's going to help you to clear things out properly, and that's also going to be a much happier camper, because you're going to be functioning much better, and you're really going to get your vitality back. Because when you're living that way, when you're not feeling well, when you're not reaching your goals, then you're not that happy. And that can also bring your B vitamins down too. So other sources of like B vitamins, B6 in particular, I usually recommend sweet potatoes, and potatoes are a great source of B6. And avocados are an excellent source of B6. Plus the avocados, you're also getting magnesium. The sweet potatoes, you're also getting beta carotene, which I mentioned is a very potent antioxidant, especially. Oh, those are two separate things. Sorry. And it's also beneficial for hormonal health as well. There is actually chocolate pretty much hits all the bases. There's B6 in there. There's magnesium, and it also helps to increase dopamine. And dopamine is responsible for your focus and your mood. It's not just the reward center. It's responsible for your focus and your mood. So you need to have a good amount in there. Okay. So foods to incorporate that are going to be beneficial for not only your athletic training, but also in prevention and preparing your body to really live out its most vital self. We said anything with vitamin A, so carrots, sweet potatoes, your squashes, your green leafy vegetables, any fruits and vegetables. Vitamin C, which is in your green leafy vegetables. It's actually a very good source of vitamin C. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, your citrus fruits, and strawberries. I also like this little powder. It's kind of like an ancient superfood. It's called camu camu. When the vitamin C was flying off the shelves during COVID, then I was recommending that people get this powder because it's very high in vitamin C. There's vitamin E. Vitamin E is very high in avocados and also sunflowers, so sunflower butter in there. Selenium, I said Brazil nuts and tuna are a good source of selenium. ECGC, that is in your green tea. And then obviously just getting a multitude of different antioxidants in there is going to be really beneficial. So your fruits and your veggies. Now, some of the things that, oh yeah, your adaptogenic spices, so turmeric, cinnamon, and ginger. There have been multiple studies on the effects of curcumin for decreasing inflammation. So if you want to check those out, that's really big. But adding in a little bit of turmeric, it's very soothing, very warming. And getting in those sources, obviously, of your methyl factors. So B6, B12, and folate. Folate, actually, chicken livers are a really good source of folate. And I know a lot of people don't like those. But lentils are a really good source of folate, and they're a good source of non-heme iron, which can help with that energy. But you need vitamin C to be able to absorb that better. B12, that's pretty much going to be in all of your animal products, pretty much. That's why usually those that are vegan or vegetarians, they're a little low in B12. Okay, so I'm going to share some of my favorite supplements that I have been taking that kind of lines up with this that you can incorporate as well. I talk about antioxidants. Personally, I'm on Juice Plus. There is fruits, there's veggies, and there's this wonderful berry blend here. That is composed of about 30 different fruits and vegetables, so you're getting antioxidants from all of those different foods. And that can also help to diversify your gut microbiome as well, which makes your immunity better. So your immune function is better. When your immune function is better, then, well, you're going to have a lot less inflammation as well. So we have Juice Plus. If you want to check that out, you can go to my website. You can go to my juiceplus.com/JuneMulvey. You grab those. And then I was talking about adaptogens. I am a big fan of ashwagandha in particular, and I also have HPA Adapt. Now, HPA Adapt has not just ashwagandha in it, but it has rhodiola and luthero, and it has a little bit of maca in it as well. These just help your body to prevent from over-processing things, and it just helps your body to adapt to the demands that are being placed on it. So then, even though you have added stressors, your body still stays, they call it homeostasis, so it stays balanced. I highly recommend incorporating those in, especially if you're an athlete and that you have multitudes of other stressors. Those that are shift workers, I highly recommend adding that in because you want to make sure that your body's able to adapt to those stressors. You're going to need more antioxidants in particular as well. All right. So if anybody has any questions for me on this particular presentation, I would absolutely love to speak with you. If this really spoke to you today and you really have noticed that you're not as vital as you want to be and you want your quality of life back and you really want to learn preventative measures to be able to live out your life to the best and the fullest that you can, I would absolutely love to talk with you. That's why I pretty much work with athletes, I work with coaches, I work with business owners, but I really work with anybody that has really been struggling with their health and wellness and vitality, even those that have been struggling with their athletic performance, so that they can reach their goals, they can build resilience, they can increase recovery, and they can get that quality of life that they have always been wanting. And why do I do that? Because of my own journey. I went from fibromyalgia to the finish line of an Ironman 70.3. If you want that in your life, then if you are open to learning some ways to getting all of these things, let's sign up for an hour strategy call. The link is going to be in my bio for those who are on Instagram, and those that are on Facebook, the link is going to be in the comments. Okay. All right. Well, happy October, everybody. I hope this was very informative and educational, and I hope you all have a wonderful Friday. Take care. Bye-bye.